Hey guys, James here again. This is gonna be with Luffy with Aquaman. I'm not giving Luffy like every single one of Aquaman's abilities, but I gave him a lot of them. This one basically Luffy would be an Atlantean, but in the One Piece verse. I'm gonna go over this. But basically, a long time ago, there'd be basically there'd be King Neptune, or not King Neptune, but a king in the time of the Void Century. He'd have a daughter who isn't quite Poseidon, but still it's a daughter. He has two of them. One of them is Poseidon, the other one isn't. The one that isn't was still gifted a legendary power, due to being the twin of Poseidon. This power is basically just, most abilities of Aquaman. But eventually this twin daughter would go on to have her descendants, who are gifted the power of the sea. It happened that this daughter's legendary power had been fostered throughout each generation, to the point where they go on to surpass Poseidon, where they're derived from. But eventually, one of her descendants was able to basically make a giant trident that's been passed on, only on to the point where it went on to dragons. I'd say dragons. How do I phrase it? Or it'd be Garp's grandfather. So it'd be Dragon's great-great-grandfather. But Dragon would somehow find the staff and keep it. But Dragon wasn't the Atlantean. Neither was Garp. It had been more. How do I phrase it? It had been more suppressed in them, the Atlantean DNA. And it wouldn't really come out in them. Their bodies they were really well built, but they were more or less built for, I guess, one side of their DNA, the will of D side of their DNA. But Luffy happened to be the perfect blend of it. What it was meant to be. Luffy's game was a blend of basically Fishman, Atlantean, will of D, and normal. So Luffy would eventually inherit a staff, well, not the staff, but the trident, as Dragon had left it with Luffy. Not left it with Luffy, but he left it with Garp and told Garp, don't touch it at all. Don't touch it. Like, Dragon barely even touch it using full power hockey. So he just tells Garp, don't touch it at all. But Luffy's the only one that should be able to use it. So yeah. Luffy has the staff. He doesn't know how to use it just yet. With this, Luffy would basically just go about and, we'd probably just go to when he's roughly, when he meets Nagari would be the best time. Saba's still alive. Nothing bad really happened so far. Hey, by the way, due to Luffy being an Atlantean, his devil fruit will not affect his ability to swim at all. The Atlantean DNA suppresses anything that nullifies the devil fruit's weakness to water. Basically, one of Luffy's only weaknesses is taken away immediately. So he's cool. Only difference is, it's a lot harder for Luffy to maneuver around, but he can still, swim and everything. He just moves a lot slower. He's still really fast underwater, faster than basic fish, but he's very slow compared to, a fishman, because of his devil fruit. That's, the only thing that happens to him. But we just move on to Luffy, who would, meet Nagari. Nagari happens to be a descendant of an Atlantean. Well, basically, not a descendant, but he's half fishman and half human. He didn't fight Roger in this one, instead just mainly spent a lot of time around Luffy's ancient descendants. Luffy's great-great-great-grandfather, or great-great-great-great-grandfather, so the grandfather of Garp's grandfather. So, Nagari's a really old man. He knows about the trident and knows how to teach power, how it's wielded. So Nagari's actually able to forge a fake one, basically not a fake trident, but it's the trident, but not the real one that Luffy wields. So with this, he's able to teach Luffy how to basically wield a trident while Ace and Sabo build the ship. And yeah. So he teaches Luffy basically every basic Atlantean ability. So yeah. Luffy's still actually pretty fast underwater. But when he was in Nagari, these strange markings would appear on him. When these strange markings appear, they appear like tattoos. But they glow. But with these, Luffy basically is able to actually swim around pretty freely. So I forgot to mention one thing in this What If. Luffy's a tad bit older in this What If. He's not like Robin's age, but let me check this real quick. So Luffy, by the time that he becomes a pirate, would be roughly around 26 years old. He's that old. But I'm gonna go over some things real quick though. So Luffy being 26 when he begins being a pirate, Ace and Sabo he's 6 years older than them. That means because post time skip he'd be 28, they'd be 22. So he's 6 years older than them. So when they meet Nagari, they're like 10, he's already 16. So yeah. But he meets Nagari and trains with him underwater. Also, Luffy has a habit of, like, letting his hair grow out to be decently long. So yeah. Also, Luffy would inherit like physically his traits are a lot more like the Jason Momoa Aquaman, but his powers are more inherent of the the new 52 where comic based Aquaman. Like, I read DC comics a lot more than Marvel. Like, I don't like Marvel comics. They're not my thing. I like DC comics a lot more because they're more my tone. But yeah, Marvel comics don't really just hit me like that. But like their cartoons and their movies hit me hard. But then the DC animated movies are undefeated until it comes to One Piece and Naruto and some of Dragon Ball. But yeah, off my little tangent. So yeah, so Luffy's 16 at this point. I don't know how I first mentioned that. Because he was 16 when he met Shanks. When Luffy is able to actually just be superhuman and just beat down Higuma in the middle of a bar and just handle all of his bandits without being scraped once by having swords slash at him and everything. And with Luffy's skin, he's basically invulnerable to blades and bullets and most things until they're imbued with hockey. Like, Luffy can just hold his hand out and be hit by a cannonball and not even be phased by it before he even ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi. This is just how tough his skin was, and Garp and Jaya both know why. But back to Luffy turning with Nagari. So Nagari teaches Luffy how to wield a staff, and even some of the abilities of the staff. It'll take a long time to learn it, but Luffy eventually is able to actually learn about the electrokinesis within the staff, which is basically shooting like lightning bolts and electricity out of it, which actually does shock Ace and Sabo. So yeah. So Luffy's some like these abilities he unlocks early on. Basically, the inhuman strength, speed, stamina, senses like farther eyesight, hearing, his sonar. He knows that. He learned that with Nagari. Then he can jump really far. You just learn that just through nature. Then he can breathe underwater. This is an obvious thing. By the way, Luffy's durability is through the roof to the point where he can just he's built to withstand ocean pressure. No matter how high it is, he's built to withstand it. So Luffy is basically able to withstand pressure that's surpassing a little over 20,000, not a little, a lot over 20,000 psi. So yeah, you can convert psi to whatever you need. But yeah, 20,000 psi, convert that to whatever you need. But then with Nagari, he also learns that he has heat and energy resistance. Well, not heat, but energy resistance, as he's able to hit himself with lightning for fun. But he tanks it like it's nothing. He burns his clothes, but so he tanked it. Super healing is something he just learned naturally. Plus, he became a pole armsman. He learned that from Nagari. I'm not gonna go over this yet. Luffy eventually was actually able to discover like a little ability to like control water once he learned electrokinesis with the staff, but he just does it just through nature. And then, for the staff, he can also shoot ice from it. Then he has night vision. So that's one thing he also learned as well. So Luffy constantly sees like it's daytime. So with him like evolving to see the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean, he sees like it's daytime. Like it's like 100 degrees outside. I'm talking Fahrenheit, not Celsius. But yeah, actually, I'll find Celsius real quick. So you can see like it's 37, 38 degrees Celsius outside. Like just bright sunny day, sun crashing down everywhere. So yeah. But Luffy also basically like just learns how to go fishing and learns how to cook fish, a lot of fish. So yeah. It also mainly looks after Ace and Sabo like they're his own kids, like they're his own kids. So yeah. So Luffy also teaches them how to fight. So yeah. Luffy's like an advanced, combatic person. But when it came to the Great Terminal Fire, is where Luffy's powers really shined. Luffy also built like a holster to put his like trident in, like on his back. But if you touch Luffy's trident, you basically just get a giant bolt of electricity through you, unless like Luffy has an emotional connection to you. So basically, the only people that can touch the trident would be Dadon, Mangra, Dagra. Those are two bandits. Pretty sure Mangra is the one with the whole turban thing going on, and then Dagra is the one with like the red mohawk. Garp. Luffy didn't have a connection with Dragon established, so Dragon couldn't touch it either way. And then Ace and Sabo, and the whole Straw Hat crew. Those are very few people who can wield the trident. the very few people. Still a decent amount of them, but still, not that many. Like, yeah, Bellamy would have a connection with Luffy, but not enough to build the trident. I guess things need to be like family for you to touch the trident. To even get near the trident. Okay, but the Great Eternal Fire breaks out. Luffy basically just told the bandits that he's gonna rush in and save people. They said that they'll go in with him. But Luffy in this one also like just like built. Like he's just unnaturally muscular for his age. Like he already has like Zoro level muscles for no reason. But so Luffy runs through the Great Terminal and begins helping people to find their way in like near water or near the forest where the fire wouldn't reach. Even brings them to like where Nagari used to hang out, but that area is basically cleared out, so there's really no reason to be there. But one thing that's there is like Luffy and Ace and Sabo's small huts. Well, Ace and Sabo share one, Luffy has his own, because he's larger than them. But yeah, so eventually when they're all freed, Luffy eventually able to get someone into like the ocean shore. Dragon would arrive and then see Luffy doing this. But Luffy basically just do a giant backflip or somersault into the ocean. We land, Dragon then actually tells Ivan like to deathwink them away. Yes, we won't see this. Ivan deathwinks them away. Suddenly, he sees Ivan and the whole, basically everyone would see a giant whirlpool form, Luffy standing on top of it, and Luffy then yells, "Crash." Now that basically every people jumps out of the way as Luffy uses a giant wave and crash over the Great Terminal Fire, making it get extinguished. He'll make sure that there's no one in the middle of it. That's why he had them like all go to the side or go to the ocean or not go to the ocean, but go near it, like the borders of it. So yeah, by the time he's done, looks at the ship, seeing Dragon, and Luffy asks who Dragon is, as if he's the one that started the fire. But Ace would walk out saying, no, he's not the one. It was not Bellamy. It was Blue Jam, and he beat him up already. So the Dadan did get pretty badly burned and cheesed back to the bandit hideout. So yeah. Luffy asks who Dragon is, and Dragon then just threw Luffy a shell, and then told Luffy he's Luffy's father. But some Luffy Dragon immediately just tells to throw out a ladder, telling people just get on if they want to leave. They do. But he just said that they'll be working for him if they leave, and a lot of them do get on either way. But with looking even ask questions or get on the boat, Dragon basically just grabs Luffy by the shoulder and throws him down to the ground, telling Luffy that Dragon wants Luffy to not stay away from him, but to chase a different path in life. And, well, they'll meet again some other day. But for now, he has people who need him more, as he points down to Ace and Sabo. Luffy acknowledges that, and, well, he has the shell. Now, this shell, I forgot what the name of it was, but basically, the shell records things like memories and everything, just so they get to know them. But, yeah. So, you can see, like, Luffy and Ace and Sabo, he just trains even more. But when it came to Sabo's dad trying to take him back, you want Sabo's dad to, like, just do that, and Luffy just saw him as guys surround him. Luffy just swung his staff in, like, a circle, and then just yelled, like, lightning sphere. But when people were infected by it were Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. So the lightning sphere is basically just being, like electrocuting everyone who was in it that wasn't Luffy or Ace and Sabo. But yeah, that's just it. But this, well, we just move on to Luffy by the time Ace and Sabo are 17, which is like 7 years later. Luffy's like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. He's like 23 at this point. By the time they leave, Luffy ends up leaving on his 23rd birthday. And when he leaves, he leaves. They left before him. But he's just trying his abilities even more. Now, Luffy there's time to learn his ability to basically talk to sea life, even dead sea life. So if we can control living and dead sea life, well, they can't be like just a bone, but they have to at least have a little bit of flesh left on them, enough to like be somewhat imposing. Well, being just skeletons already imposing enough. They have to have at least a little bit, like enough flesh on them to tell what kind of fish it is. He discovered his heat resistance. He just discovered that. So, like, he was, like, in the East Blue traveling around when he left. And then he met Ace and wanted to spar with Ace. And Ace just let out the whole, like, Mare no Me ability. And then covered Luffy in just tons of, like, his whole Fire Fist thing. And he kind of understood that it hurt Luffy, but Luffy just waited away the flames, not even scathed, but his clothes are burned away. So, yeah. Like, the way he discovered his heat and electricity/energy resistance was just blasting himself or Ace blasting him. But his clothes are, like, the only thing that get damaged. And they're all blown away. Yeah. Super healing, he'll discover that when he was younger. The shell that records things, he has that. But he also discovered he can control weather more than water. With water, he's discovered not discovered, but he learned to control a lot more amounts of it. Oh, let me find this real quick. So, long story short, Luffy can control just around 50 million gallons of water all at once, and that's just nothing to him. When he wants to focus all this power, he can use millions of gallons, hundreds of millions of gallons, even almost billions. But yeah. But then, with weather control, he's basically able to basically create storms, hurricanes, typhoons. Marineford is going to be just crazy. So I'll tell you that right now. He also learns thing where he can basically just kind of use poison very similar to a pufferfish. He kind of just secrete it from his body. He didn't know how he learned this, but basically just one day he's fighting an animal in the forest for food, and he poisoned it. He saw some sort of liquid come off his hand, and then he punched the animal right in the face, and the animal was choking on the liquid and died. Which immediately he's been analyzing the poison, the effects of it, and just immediately disqualified it as pufferfish poison. He ate a pufferfish. It didn't kill him, but it made him sick. He also learned how to heal people, and then put up a giant barrier. So yeah, Luffy by the time he's 23, he's already around 6'4", because I said he's going to be built like Jason Momoa's Aquaman. So yeah, he also has all the Aquaman tattoos. Just they're not tattoos, they're just regularly occurring birthmarks, but they light up blue. With Luffy's signature color being red, they wouldn't light up blue, they light up red. So they just light up red. Also, lightning from some of the staff just to mimic Conqueror's Haki coating. It's red lightning, red and black lightning. But Luffy at 23, he met Ace. Ace shot fire at Luffy, and Luffy just tanked it all. And this is 3 years before the Chronicle story begins, I believe. Yeah, 3 years. So Luffy sometimes just sails around the whole East Blue for no reason, just because he has nowhere else to go. He didn't want to be a pirate. He just wanted to live a life with no rules. Basically, be it. He wants to live a life with no rules, and he fights Marines. So be it. Fights pirates. So be it. Fights revolutionaries. So be it. He'll fight whoever he wants to, as long as he can be free. He'll fight whoever, or whatever approaches him, and yeah. He won't fight sea animals. He won't do that. But yeah, everything else. Now one day Luffy would basically stop at a fishing village. Not fishing village, but he stopped at a village. I assume it probably be a fishing village because we didn't think much on it. Luffy stopped at this village just to get food as he ran out on a small dinghy or a small fishing boat. Well, it's not small. You know those giant fishing boats that you see on TV shows, where it's it's not as big as a crab fishing boat. Let me find out how big those are. Yeah, Luffy basically has a boat that looks just like this. So yeah, he has that boat. He hijacked it, of course, but he has that boat. But when he arrived, he basically just had a ton of fish with him. Fish and crab. Well, he willingly basically just asked them just come to him. Well, only make sure that they're not wasted. Also, Luffy did eat the Gomu Gomu Nami. He just has no need for the abilities of it. Luffy's just already tanking everything with his unnatural Atlantean body. But Luffy, as he basically just gave the fish and crab to Shimosuke Village, he wanders around until they're able to basically just cook up all the food in front of him. Not in front of him, but to cook up all the food, and he's able to buy some of it back. He just wanders around, and he had met a kid with the name of Zoro. At this point, Zoro is roughly around 16 years old, and Zoro happened to be just training outside the dojo. And Luffy actually called out Zoro, as he thought Zoro was really cool. The real question Luffy actually asked Zoro for a tour, at the Shimosuke Village. Zoro said no, but Luffy had an idea, knowing how Zoro is. Zoro reminded him a lot of Kid Ace. Luffy says, "How about this? If I beat you in a fight, give me a tour." Zoro agreed as Luffy just put out his trident, and Zoro dashed at Luffy using onigiri. He's wanting to end it really quickly. Luffy was training, so he just dealt onigiri. To stop Zoro from using onigiri, Luffy basically just pulled his staff, just once. And the hilt of it basically slapped Zoro right in the chin, and Zoro got sent flying into a tree. Luffy then put his trident away, and Luffy then said, Well, I guess you have to give me a tour now, don't you? So wobble up, holding his jaw, and then just said, "Give me 10 minutes," as he just slumped over. That Koshiro would question who Luffy is, and he says, "Oh, he's just a fisherman." Then Koshiro asks Luffy how he's so strong if he's just some regular fisherman. Luffy even says that when at his hometown, well, his forest filled with dangerous animals, so he learned how to fight. And he's fought animals stronger than Zoro. With animals being his two younger brothers. He'd say that out loud, but the two animals were his younger brothers. Or animals he was referring to are his two younger brothers. So, yeah. King of Forest, no biggie. He literally one-tapped that like 2 years before he even met Shanks. Usually Forest just basically socked it so hard he got sent flying into the Great Terminal. Fed everyone for weeks. But, yeah. Eventually Zoro woke up 10 minutes later and then gave Luffy a tour. So asks Luffy what the trident is. Luffy just says, "Oh, it's a trident passed down in his family." Zoro asks if he told it, but Luffy said, "No, it's not a good idea. If Luffy doesn't have a connection with people, it just shocks them." He confuses Zoro, thinking Luffy's lying to Luffy just said, "Poke it and see what happens." As soon as Zoro poked it, Luffy immediately felt in pain, jumping back, holding his hand thus steaming. Zoro said, "Is it magic or something?" Luffy says, "Probably magic. Who knows?" Eventually, after the tour is over, Luffy actually offers to train Zoro for a bit, saying he has experience training kids. Because he wanted to get strong, not learn to get strong, but a lot of his techniques derived from watching his younger brothers train. But that Luffy began training Zoro. As he trained Zoro, well, he trained Zoro there for roughly around 3 months before he decides to leave. As he's about to leave, Zoro asked Luffy to join him. Not Zoro asked Luffy. Luffy asked Zoro to join him, and Zoro agreed. At this point, Luffy left in around May. He's in the East Blue for a few months. I'd say like 4. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. This one he's already turned 17. Luffy agrees to bring Zoro with him, just tells Zoro to get on the boat. Zoro would run and hop on, and Zoro would his way to Shimosuke Village, but before he's gone, Koshiro would throw Luffy a giant scroll. Luffy would catch it, and he says, "That's all Zoro has left to train before I think you surpass me." But Zoro would keep the scroll, and Luffy just tells Zoro that there's only one room, but there's like a giant, there's only one decent-sized bedroom, but there's one giant cabin crew bedroom, and Zoro can stay in there. It'd be Zoro's own bedroom in either way. So with this, well, we just go on and see, like, just Luffy and Zoro sell these blues until they arrive at the Bratier, roughly around a month later. This point, Zoro and Sanji are both 17, but Sanji's still older. But Luffy walks in there, he actually asks for, like, a bit of food, then hold up, like, a very rare fish that's very rare to find in these blue, and he said he found it in the calm belt between the East and South Blue. Really, Zeph says he'll cook that fish for free. Sanji uses in amazement, then just says Sanji's gonna cook it, not him. So they end up basically Sanji ends up cooking the fish and cooking it in a really cool way. Luffy eats it and then thanks Sanji. Luffy actually asks if this fish is that rare, and Zeph said, "Yeah, it's incredibly rare." Luffy says, "Oh, well, go on my ship and check my my storeroom." So that'll do. Well, Sanji and Zeph do, and it's amazing how much fish, these kind of fish, are in there. Next, Luffy how he does this, and Luffy says, "Oh," and he's aware of fishmen. He's aware of it. Nagari told him a lot of about fishmen. Says, "Oh, he's half fisherman and half human." So he's able to somewhat communicate with fish and swim to incredible depths. So he's just found it like that. I thought Zeph actually just buys all these fish off Luffy, and Luffy agrees. So yeah. And now before he leaves, she wants to see if Zeph's reputation is true, because he's heard about Zeph just through like just random people at like just docks or places. But Zeph says Sanji should be a good match for someone who doesn't seem experienced in fighting. But Luffy fights Sanji and is easily able to beat him with no effort. Like Sanji go for a kick, Luffy just flicks Sanji's kick away and just slaps Sanji into the ground. And this confuses Zeph, asking Luffy like how he trained. He says, "Oh, well, he fights anyone he needs to on his journey." That's when Zeph sees Zoro training like giant weights like swords. He asks Luffy, "Is that like Zoro's? Is that Luffy's like boss or something?" He says, "Oh no, that's his student." Zoro meets Zeph down, saying Luffy pointing to him and just says, "Master, do you need something?" He goes, "No," and stop calling me master. It's weird. So yeah. Zoro just hops back in the ship, and yeah. So with this, Luffy's actually able to, well, kind of have to hand over Sanji, I guess. But, well, Sanji does say no to Luffy, then says, "Your dream's all blue, right?" Well, I've actually heard about that through fish. I've a rare ability in Atlanteans, not Atlanteans, but in Fishmen, where I'm able to talk to fish. And I've heard about it through fish, and I know exactly where it is. Just come with me, and I'll show you. Everyone's eyes widen, and that's where it is. So Luffy says, "Trust me, good Barty's not going to get there anytime soon." So if that's where the all blue is, Luffy says, long story short, it's in the New World. That's not even covering half the journey. This is Zephyr says, Sanji, he's right. You're not getting to the all blue anytime soon if you don't go with him. But Zephyr does Luffy how he plans to get over to the kid to get into the East Blue, into the New World. Luffy says he's survived many things. He's been caught in a whirlpool and ended the whirlpool itself. Going up a giant mountain with water, it's nothing. With that, Zeph chuckles, but then gives Sanji a small scroll, telling Sanji that's all he has left. He has all he has left to train with. So yeah. So with this, well, Sanji leaves with Luffy, and yeah. So with this, we should move on to like just Luffy just going to like a nearby marine island. And Zoro happened to be throwing a giant weight in the air, like the weight's like 7 feet tall. Then Zoro would catch the weight with one hand, then Sanji's like basically kicking a giant weight in the air and catching it, like how Zoro was doing both his legs. Sanji's more or less like on his hands and doing that, while Zoro's like just walking normally. Well, like he's like squatting, I guess, or duck walking if you want to call it that. Like duck walking and catching the weight. And stands up, squats, throws it up in the air again. But when they get to the marine base, they stop, they put the weights down outside, put their shirts on, and they walk inside. And that's Luffy is, and Luffy says, "Oh, he's the fisherman that called," and they're like, "Okay, cool." Now at this, well, Luffy actually does say that the marines here look strong. He likes to test his students. Now with that, like a regular seaman apprentice would walk outside only to get the shit kicked out of him by Sanji, just like, ooh, one kick to the jaw, unconscious. With that, they go all the way up to like a captain, which is like the captain of the whole base. Fights Sanji, gets one tapped. He recovers in like a bit, fights Zoro, gets one tapped with just Zoro not even using a sword, just basically punches him in the face. But then he asks Luffy how strong he is. Luffy says, long story short, Zoro and Sanji couldn't even get a hit on him when they're fighting for hours on end. Then Luffy then says he's also fought the pirates and then tanked cannonballs over and over again. So that just says how strong he is. Now they don't believe him until Luffy then told Zoro to throw a cannonball at him, as he threw one of the marine cannonballs at him, as Zoro caught it. Then charged up the strongest throw. Like even like everyone sees like muscles bulging, so you can tell he wasn't holding back. And he threw at Luffy. Luffy basically just get hit by it, but not even be phased. Like Sanji didn't even know Luffy could do that. He thought Luffy was just bluffing. They didn't see like a mark where he was even hit. But they gave Zoro 10 more cannonballs, telling Zoro throw them rapidly. He does just that, and Luffy just tanks them all head on. Actually, when he's done, he then says, "All right, you're done now. You're done now. The smoke smells really bad." And the Marines are just impressed. But that's what Luffy is. They have an idea. But this is the Marine that tried to invade Arlong Park to capture Arlong. But what happened instead is that like Hachi and Kirby sank them. These guys actually asked Luffy about like Arlong Park, and if he's heard of it, he said no. They actually offer him a few million, like they offer him around 80 million berries to take down Arlong and his whole crew and Arlong Park itself. Luffy agrees to this, telling Zoro and Sanji that they're going to go out now. At this point, it went from like being like I'd say like January to now, by the time they found the Marines, to around March. So, yeah, and at this point, it's like Sanji's birthday already. Sanji turned 18 already. Now with this, he set sail, and they head to Arlong Park. They dock there. Arlong questions what he's doing there. Says, oh, he thought it was just some random fishing dock. Arlong thought Luffy just random like arrogant human. He says, oh, you're a fisherman too. Arlong was immediately confused, and he asked Luffy what do you mean two. He's like, oh, he's that human, he's that fishman. And Arlong, Luffy a little confused. Luffy just shows he has gills. But Arlong actually asks Luffy has the same human strength. Luffy basically just like grab, just like lift up a giant chunk of the ground and just hold it above his head like it's nothing. Only bursts out laughing, saying that Luffy's one of them now. Because, no, he's actually just here to trade. But yes, if those who are on the board are human, Luffy says, yeah, they're a student. He trains them. Arlong thought that was kind of weird, but that's Luffy if he knew Fishman karate. Luffy says he's heard of it, just doesn't know it. He wasn't raised in Fishman Island. He was raised in East Blue, not far from this island, actually. Arlong says, oh, really? Well, how about this? We're going to give you an example of it. Honey Kirby would then punch out Luffy, but Luffy just takes the punch like it's nothing, saying, "This is how weak Fishman karate is. I don't want to learn it." This one basically just pimp slaps Kirby through Arlong Park, and Arlong's jaw just drops. Alright, then how about this? I'll try it. He just hits Luffy. Luffy just simply flicks Arlong through like the whole building, and he says, "This is Fishman karate." He looks very disappointed in it. Luffy then says, well, he's not Fishman karate because he has this really cool technique. Suddenly Luffy set tattoos, so Sanji didn't even know he could do this. Tattoos then turn blue, and suddenly, well, not blue, they suddenly light up red, and a giant, portion of water lifted above Luffy's head. But Luffy has a grin on his face saying the Marines hired him to wipe them all out. That, Luffy actually looks at Nami, telling her to move, or get on his boat. Sanji jumps down, grabbing her, pulling on their boat, and Luffy then suddenly thumps the water down in full force. But then, once all the fishermen gathered in it, Luffy basically begins shoving water through their gills rapidly, to the point where they're basically being drowned by Luffy. But eventually, once they're dead, he basically just drops them all on the ocean. We let some basically just some sharks, and they have a feast. But Luffy's actually able to report to the Marines. Then he gets his money. So yeah. But Nami gave Sanji her whole backstory that Sanji told to Luffy. And Luffy just feels bad for her. At this point, Nami would be 2 years before canon already. Nami would roughly be, she was 18, she's now 16. She's 16 years old. And Luffy doesn't notice that Nami has a staff, actually just asks her to show him how she uses it. When Luffy sees it, then she displays how he uses a trident, but also how he uses it as a staff too. So that he's willing to actually teach her if she says she'll run his crew. Nami actually feels really bad about being weak and having to see how strong Luffy was even without using his staff or his power of water or whatever. But she agrees to let you learn about Luffy's power, not about using a staff. But first, they would tell the villagers that they were free. So what they do is they destroy all of Arlong Park and turn it into like a fishing hotspot. Also, Luffy actually has like animals guarding this village, and then if the villagers still report that they're threatened, they sink the boats. So, yeah. Even if they're fishermen, the boats will be sank. But with this, they all set sail. This little Luffy, Nami, Sanji, and Zoro. As they set sail, they're able to dock another fishing island like 2 weeks later. And they see a boy fishing at the docks. Eventually, he leaves and returns as Luffy's about to get back on his boat after selling a few crabs. And he gets about to get on Bean until Luffy then pushed him onto his boat, saying, wrong boat. We think Luffy is Alvita's crew would get on their boat. Then see Kobe, thinking he's a bit bigger, try to rob him. Luffy jump in the way and punch Alvita right in the face full force, so you're flying far into the ocean. But everyone noticed that Luffy's arm stretched. No one on Luffy's crew knew he could do this. No one even knew he could stretch. Eventually, when his arm would shoot back, Luffy then says, she's rude. Alvita's crew just bows down to Luffy, saying, we apologize for our rudeness. Luffy then basically just like lightly kicks the boat, and then it just sails away. Kobe ended up thanking Luffy profusely. He says, it's no biggie. Also, don't buy some fish. Kobe said, yeah, he'll buy some, as this fish was actually decently rare. And with this, Kobe eventually did get on the boat. Because Luffy actually offered him to get on the boat. And eventually, they do make their way to Syrup Village, like around a year later. So a few months before canon even starts. And, not a few months later, it's like a year and a few months pass. It's just the point where it's only like 4 months before canon starts. And when they arrive there, they're able to talk to Usopp. But also Luffy's able to tell that Kuro's not really a good guy. They also took a few bounty hunting jobs during the last, year and a half or so. So with this, Luffy can tell Usopp that Kuro's not really a good person. And Zoro actually pulls out a bounty poster saying, there's this bounty poster, and this is exactly what the butler looks like. Now Usopp gives a poster to Kaya. Kaya then says without a doubt that is Clawdor. So Luffy actually says he's gonna hide somewhere, and Kai has to confront him. So with this, Kai does actually do this, and Luffy's basically hanging outside her window. But then, once Kuroba explains to kill her when she shows him the poster, Luffy jumped in and basically punched him in the chest full force, and it actually killed him. So, once Kuroba's basically dead, Kai didn't know, he thought he was unconscious. Luffy felt bad about this, but basically dumped him in the ocean, and the fish ate him. Well, Usopp wanted to join Luffy, saying Luffy is like a brave warrior of the sea. Before they set sail, Luffy cut his hair off, and then they also get to marry. Not all of it off, but he has like the same Luffy haircut now. So yeah. Pause. So eventually Usopp does join them, and starts actually cross Reverse Mountain, well, months earlier. Because, well, they went to Logtown, they don't have bounties at all, actually. Then as they cross, well, over the, well, Red Line, because they felt like that's what they need to do now, they went to the South Blue. They explored the whole South Blue, they explored most of the East Blue, they run over Red Line 2 months earlier than canon. And Usopp is being trained with Nami, as Nami learned how to use a staff from Luffy. He even gave her tips, and then even, well, gave her a trident. Not gave her one, but basically it has like, well, it's like a pitchfork, I guess, but it's wooden, because she doesn't really prefer killing. But with her strong chase, you can kill someone with this by basically just jabbing it into their body full force. So with this, well, we should move on to Luffy and the Struts as they go over Reverse Mountain. They meet Laboon. Luffy actually understand Laboon like full sentences and everything. And when it came to like Luffy going over the Grand Line and seeing Laboon, not over Grand Line, going over Reverse Mountain, seeing Laboon there, he's able to actually communicate with him pretty easily. Laboon moves, Luffy and Laboon talk, but Luffy is able to actually convince Laboon not to ram into the Red Line anymore. So with this, Luffy is able to heal some of Laboon's newer wounds, or we have newer wounds, and then Laboon doesn't have as many scars. So with this, Luffy does end up leaving. But before he does, he tells Laboon he'll give Laboon the mark of a warrior. With that, Laboon would suddenly just feel like, not a sharp pain, but yes, stinging. Laboon ends up asking what it was, and inside Laboon, Luffy is holding his staff, on top of his trident, and there's, well, lightly slashed in, it says Straw Hat. The symbol now means that Laboon is part of their crew, and Luffy will know a way to get Laboon out of Reverse Mountain by the time he's done. So, yeah. But Aquaman found a way to communicate with animals halfway across the planet. Luffy will do that later on, too. So, yeah. But as they basically able to leave, Crocus does tell Luffy that it was very cruel to do to an animal, but he gave Laboon hope, and he appreciates that. And Sanji does it in log pose, they go about, and starts to arrive at Whiskey Peak. And they're there, Luffy drags out a giant, like, thing of fish. But everyone can tell, like, with how much Luffy's carrying, this is at least 2 tons of fish. But Luffy doesn't know that these fish, he doesn't hunt fish that are endangered, so to say. We hunt fish that he knows are vast in numbers, and actually you could use, well, less numbers. Or he hunts animals that are unneededly large. So, yeah. Like he's bringing out a few dozen fish, but then, like, 2 giant sea kings with him. Now with that, everyone already knows there if he can kill this many sea kings by himself, because if they don't see the crew, they're all below deck training. Mary's also a bit bigger than Canyon, so they had months to build it. So, yeah. Well, they already found it impossible to beat Luffy. Or even hunt him down. But he doesn't have a bounty, so it's not worth anything. But as they're able to give Luffy enough money for the fish and the Sea Kings, it's about to leave. He does see, not Vivi. Actually, no, it'd be Vivi, Mr. 9, Miss Monday, and Egrom, which is Mr. 8, investigating the ship. As he sees them doing that, he asks what they're doing. But quickly, Miss Monday will turn around, grabbing Luffy by his head. But suddenly, Luffy just basically grabs her arm and squeezes lightly and shatters it immediately. Like, everyone heard it break. Now that she fell to the ground holding her arm, and eventually Luffy let go of it. And Luffy looked at Vivi, tried to just basically hit Luffy, only for her to be basically swiftly hit in the gut by Luffy. But suddenly as Luffy just begins beating down the rest of everyone around him as they all attack him. Starts to eventually come aboard just to see basically Whiskey Peak covered in water, and they eventually come out because they feel the ship rocking. They go up to see basically just Luffy beating down everyone at Whiskey Peak with no effort. And the last one left is Egrom. Luffy just hits him with a lightning bolt from his trident. Nami and Usopp didn't know he could do that. They didn't know. So, yeah. The only people that knew were Zoro and Sanji. Well, Kobe also didn't know because Kobe's with them. Yeah, pause. So yeah, but Nami's done. Well, as he's done, he's suddenly hit back by an explosion. And he turns around and turns back to the thrust, asking if anything's wrong with him. They say no, just his hole has a burn, his clothes has a hole burned into it now. And noticing as he looks, seeing who did it, seeing Mr. Five. Mr. Five just rapidly hits Luffy with explosions, only for Luffy to not be phased by it. Well, then suddenly, Miss Valentine will crash down on Luffy. When he crashes down on him, well, Luffy's only too phased by it. Check real quick. When it came to Miss Valentine basically landing on top of Luffy, he stood up and just shrugged it off like it's nothing. Luffy swims to the depths that are crushed more than her. He says that she's pretty heavy, but Luffy's felt worse. Basically stomped on her back, and then that basically took her out. But then when it came to Mr. Five, he then points to Nami, like not points, but just winks to Nami and Kobe. Nami basically pull out her, I guess, trident-ish staff that's like points on it, looks like a pitchfork they said before. That her and Kobe would run down. Kobe's actually in this one's a bit taller still, also a bit more muscular. Kobe's actually able to run around being like a distraction. Nami then means using I guess her pullmanship or pole arms, and against Mr. Five, and able to basically jab him right in the eye with one of the ends of her, I guess, trident, quote unquote. When he does that, it's enough for Kobe basically land an axe kick, knocking him out. Kobe would jump up, and then just say that they win. If he applauds them, then they leave. But first he then says that they need money, so take all their money that they have. So I just realized that a lot of the story right now so far has been Luffy as a kid or Luffy being a fisherman. So, yeah. Fisherman Luffy. We love it. With that, the Straws all head to Little Garden. Pretty much goes the same way. But Little Garden is not much different. It's just there's no Mr. Five or Miss Valentine there. But then they're at Drum Island. Pretty much no difference. Like, there's really not much. Luffy doesn't really care about the cold. The ocean is really cold. So, yeah. Check this real quick. Yeah, Luffy's been really deep in the ocean, and it's been colder than most places. So this place isn't really any different. So, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of chilly, but still, he's been colder. So as he goes about, and basically is able to, meet Chopper, meet Dr. Rain. A lot of stuff just goes pretty similar as in canon. When Chopper is like, hey, I can't go because I'm an animal. He says, he's an animal too. He's a hybrid of animals. And Chopper is going to hear this. Luffy basically just reveals his biggest secret to Chopper, which is that he's not a fisherman/human. He basically says he's an Atlantean, a very deep descendant of fishmen, but a stronger one, which means he's basically a fish, like a fish and man, but stronger. He realizes that basically on a crew with another animal, he'd be okay with that, so he joins. Well, all humans are animals, but either way. Well, in nature and through genetics, but yeah. But we should go on to Alabasta, which is pretty much the same until Luffy first fights against Crocodile. But in this one, it's Crocodile. Pause. Alright, so, eventually, when Crocodile first, I guess, not kill, but stab Luffy. Finally, he tried that. Luffy's actually able to basically just tank the stab. And Crocodile's hook actually was cracking against, Luffy's skin. Crocodile pull away. Luffy would eventually just smirk, and Luffy's actually kind of very much weakened because it's dry and hot everywhere. He gives heat resistance, but it's just so dry and he hasn't had water in a while. Luffy's basically just realizing that Crocodile's mainly made of sand. Luffy actually being a tad bit smart in this one. Immediately just basically chug up all of the water, put it in his mouth. Then if Crocodile thinks that's what Luffy is doing, just suddenly spit all the water out. But Crocodile's a little confused. He's suddenly just pierced by the water over and over and over through his body. It doesn't hurt him, but now he's just soaked with it. Some of it stung him a bit, but he realizes that he's hit right in the chin specifically with enough force that actually stagger him. He suddenly uppercut Crocodile full force and hard enough to actually break Crocodile's face. Crocodile's jaw, a bit basically the lower half of his skull is cracked. But eventually, when he's done, Crocodile's unconscious, and yeah. So with that, Luffy eventually does just walk away from Crocodile. And when he walks away, Robin just impressed that Crocodile's taken down by Luffy. Doesn't even have a bounty yet. Luffy's already in Alabasta with no bounty. Like, he's worked for the Marines, so they don't really think of him as a pirate just yet. They think of him as like a fisherman. Really, just said, what's to be Crocodile is when he gets his first bounty. But what was Crocodile's bounty? So, Luffy does beat Crocodile and just leaves. Well, one, Smoker never thought Luffy was an enemy, so he saw Luffy walking away, but he's dragging Crocodile by, like, his hair. So Luffy already knew Smoker was there, but also met Ace. We got Crocodile asking what he can get for beating up a corrupt warlord, and Smoker's jaw just drops, seeing Luffy unscathed. Crocodile is covered in bruises. The person says he'll handle it, as he has Tashi grab Cecil's cuffs from the ship. This Luffy escorts Crocodile to the ship. When Luffy finds water, he jumps into it immediately, still in Crocodile. But Luffy being Atlantean just makes him swim slower than usual. He still swims really fast, but not as fast as most fishermen. Luffy eventually swims up, and says, oh yeah, he can't swim, throwing Crocodile onto the boat. Tashiki puts Cecil's cuffs on him, and then Luffy gets bounties. It's my bounty money for it. But when he discovers to the Marines how easily Luffy beat Crocodile, they deem it as a threat because he's not working with them 24/7. So, yeah. Plus, like, well, there's really no known source on the ship. He hasn't really beat up any Marines. We just leave Shelltown in peril, honestly. But I can honestly see Luffy going there at one point and reporting it to the Marines. I'll say he did that. So, he reported it to the Marines, and they solved it. So, I guess we can just move on to Luffy getting a bounty to him not working with the Marines, but being able to drop a warlord. So Luffy's bounty would shoot up to roughly around the same with Crocodile's, being at, not same, but pretty close to Crocodile's, at 70 million. Because Smoker reported that the fight, Crocodile seemed like he's probably helpless, while Luffy's unscathed. Luffy was briefly unscathed. At best, like a small scrape, and he just self-healed that. So, yeah. With this, Robin does join the Straw Hats, and he accepts it, so, yeah. Also, Luffy being Aquaman, he will need a queen later on, so, yeah. I'm debating who that queen should be. If I don't finish this in this one movie, then, yeah, you guys can choose. But until then, my options are Yamato and Robin. I honestly don't care for Boa Hancock as Luffy's ship, in all honesty. Hate me all you want. I don't like Boa. I don't like her that much. She's a solid character, just not a fan of the ship. So, yeah. I haven't seen enough of her to be a coolly developed character. We had like a little bit of Amazon Lily, and that's it. But, yeah. Now this will go on to Jaya. Nami wouldn't tell Luffy don't cause trouble, because Luffy is a relatively peaceful guy. He causes trouble when it's needed. So she knows that. So with this, well, Luffy go into the bar, but Robin actually has a very big interest in Luffy, so she hangs out with him most of the time. The ship is basically just guarded by Usopp, who has nothing he needs to buy. He probably would, being Usopp. So, the person that could probably just to say and guard the ship would probably just be like Zoro or Sanji, but probably just Zoro. Sanji needs to buy anything other than fish and crabs and sea kings. But Luffy, Zoro, and Robin are not Zoro. Luffy and Robin are in the bar. Bellamy is hitting on Robin. At this point, they stopped at Alabasta for like 2 months just to hang out there, which helped them back up on speed. So Bellamy's there this time. So let's say like they're like a few hours behind. Bellamy's there, and this is before he plays. Yeah, Luffy met Bellamy before Roshio was killed by him. So Luffy ends up basically just talking. Well, Bellamy's for Robin, trying to like seduce her onto the ship. But when Robin realizes what he's doing, she just says that Luffy's a lot more attractive than her. So Luffy's new bounty is basically established at 70 million, and Bellamy does acknowledge this as Luffy. Bellamy wanted to see how strong Luffy was, as Luffy would stand up looking at him. And Bellamy just looked at Luffy, who's, well, just tall, I guess. Bellamy would jump up and immediately go for like a springy kick on Luffy. Luffy isn't knocked to the sea or even budges. Luffy puts his leg up to Bellamy's chest. Luffy actually begins making his legs swirl like a spring. Luffy says he springs, well, he's a better spring than Bellamy is. Then he kicks Bellamy like this, and Bellamy's flying basically halfway through Jaya. Bellamy's laying on the ground, coughing up blood. Luffy ends up basically putting his leg back to normal, and Robin ends up laughing at that. Luffy sits down by Robin a drink, and they basically just drink and eat pie. Luffy and Robin share the same opinion on pie. So is Blackbeard when he does arrive. They stay in the bar for like 2 hours. So Robin's basically saying Blackbeard walk in. Blackbeard gives some opinion on pirates and canon. Luffy and Blackbeard has him in an interaction. But Robin is with Luffy, and she agrees with him 100%. But then we go on to them arriving at just move on to them arriving at Skypiea. But even Luffy versus Enel, or whole SWAT crew versus Enel, or isn't people in what was it? In Skypiea, yeah. So even with Zoro versus Enel the first time, when Robin, I guess Zoro was used to taking lightning attacks via just Luffy. Luffy's like just held out his staff and shot shot lightning at them, like telling them to avoid it and be faster. Well, Zoro was able to easily grab Robin and just avoid lightning like it's nothing, as Enel didn't really seem too special. But then we have Sanji who can do the same thing. Nami can't really avoid lightning, but she's actually able to somewhat counter it with her climb attack. But by the way, she had it for a while, she doesn't use it as often. So, like with her climb attack, she's actually able to like just extend it to be a trident, and then also shoot lightning out of it too. Can kind of just mimic Luffy's. I forgot to mention that earlier. She had a climb attack. I also noticed that I forgot to go over all the fights in Skypiea, in Alabasta versus for the Straw Hats. If you guys can admit, when people that be lagging behind are literally just Chopper and Robin. Robin didn't even fight. Like, Kobe can carry his own weight. Kobe's about as strong as Mr. 4 is at full power. So, yeah, it's still pretty impressive. Usopp's a bit stronger than that, so, yeah. But, I guess we can just go on to Luffy versus Enel would be the important thing. But only trust haven't been damaged. Only trust that have been damaged are literally just Kobe and Robin. Not Kobe, I mean Chopper and Robin. Just those two. They haven't had as much training. But Luffy basically just stares at Enel when they're facing each other, and then Enel tries to basically do like the whole bind Luffy to the giant golden ball thing. When Enel does that, Luffy just lifts it like it's lightweight. But then Luffy just begins going to your second, as he learned how to do that a long time ago. You guys can tell Luffy is he says devil fruit for a long time, but also trains a lot, 24/7 with Zoro and Sanji previously. Plus, he trained Zoro, so he'd have to work out a lot. So, Kiryu is something that he has. One thing that Luffy will tap into, like constantly 24/7, in like the next arc would be Gear 3rd. So yeah. Also, Luffy wouldn't need anything beyond his base form to beat Lucci. He doesn't even need anything beyond that to beat Enel. He literally just went Gear 2nd to melt some of the golden balls so he can pull his arm out of it. Luffy then says that the lightning, nothing too much Enel would hit Luffy with it full force. Luffy just tanks every like ounce of it. And of course, how Luffy's able to do this, Luffy just holds out the staff towards Enel. Enel thinks Luffy's trying to stab him until Luffy just stabbed at Enel. But Luffy knows how Enel's going to act, so Enel basically grabbed the staff and pulled it away from Luffy. When he touched it, Enel is, shockingly, getting electrocuted. Enel's basically howling in pain, and eventually he just passed out. Now with Enel's body being off guard, Luffy then tells Enel that he doesn't deserve the grateful people of Skypiea. Luffy just typing his staff, while the staff was trying to across Enel's neck, and behind Luffy just sees blood splatter in the air. Luffy picks up Enel's body and throws it so far that it lands far, far away in the White Sea, and Enel's body just drops down into the Blue Sea and just sinks. With that, Luffy just walks away, picking up Robin, and, Robin and Zoro. Zoro's kind of tired from dodging lightning from 24/7. And Sanji basically fought Enel, but couldn't hit him at all. But they do arrive in Jaya, in Water 7 later on, or Enies Lobby later on, I don't care. But Usopp, when he was about to get robbed by I guess you can just say when he's about to get robbed by, who was it, fuck? When he's about to get robbed by the Frankie family, he's able to avoid them all and just beat them all down, even if they get close to him. Like, Usopp at this point is like basically on par with Frankie at full power. Like, Frankie at full power is on par with Luffy. Not Luffy, I mean, on par with Usopp. So Usopp's really strong. But, yeah. So with this, we just go on to Luffy is just about, I'd say, I don't know. We can probably just go to like, well, Usopp beats up most of the Frankie family and Frankie himself, which is honestly not too unbelievable. So, yeah. But with that happening, we can probably just go on to Luffy, who does see this happening, but Usopp's really tired and passes out outside. But Luffy, as he walks inside the base, sees them all beaten up. So, yeah. But eventually, Robin is still taken by CP9, but she's kidnapped this time, not goes with him willingly. She's just kidnapped. So, yeah. Luffy actually does, like, hear about this from, like, a member of Frankie family, just from Frankie family, reports it that she was kidnapped. Luffy immediately just says that to thank them, they're going to head all the way to Enies Lobby with the Frankie family, but the Frankie family can take anything they want from Enies Lobby, and they agree to that. But Frankie isn't taken, just Robin. But yeah, Frankie agrees when he gets told that he's allowed to take government technology. So yeah. Now that they all run and get on the sea train, they sail all the way to Enies Lobby. Not sail, but they just get there. Alright, so as they get to Enies Lobby, well, first Sanji moves the train and beats them all down besides Lucci. He started off fighting Kaku, but then Lucci just fought Sanji, and Sanji was already pretty impressive while still tired. Sanji wasn't tired, he would have beaten Lucci. Like, if Sanji didn't fight anyone from the other trains or other carts on the train, he would have beaten the whole CP9 crew by himself. He was just tired and fighting them all, and then fighting all CP9. Sanji's then thrown out of, like, the sea train window by Lucci, who's basically just covered in blood and sweat. When he's thrown, Luffy immediately able to catch Sanji. He didn't say that's a step too far. By the time they do arrive at Enies Lobby, Luffy just basically jumped off the sea train and ran like, straight towards like anyone in his way. Luffy and twirling the staff, then just yelled lightning dance. He spun around, the staff started spinning, and then just basically swung it and I guess a forward, some like left to right slash kind of motion. But the other two see that charged up, basically gets them flying and just hits tons of people. When Nami immediately just jumped in the air, yelling thunder tempo, hitting gets through to people. Kind of what her trident climb attack can do. But then Luffy immediately ran and just kept going by using just his trident to stab at people. And Luffy would eventually decide to actually use his weather manipulation ability, and actually start causing a hurricane to manifest on Enies Lobby. With that, he's actually able to get to like Lucci and Bluno are still standing and escorting CP9 away. But Spandam would see Luffy running towards them. He immediately tries to like basically use like a snail, but he's about to hit a buster call. Well, Robin, with a bit of training, is able to escape the grip of Lucci and jump and kick Spandam right over the, you can say railing of the building and land right on the ground. He isn't dead, but he's unconscious. Lucci immediately got Robin, and the snail fell into the ocean, so it's just there. But Robin's like just yanked up. Luffy would jump up as high as he can, using his spring ability, like copied from Bellamy. Then forward Lucci and Bellamy can grab Robin. Lucci's face suddenly just slammed on the ground full force. Lucci's basically pummeling Lucci over and over again until his fists are covered in blood. Then stares up right at Bluno. Bluno would hit Luffy right in the face. Lucci ends up basically just punches Bluno right in the chest. And Bluno would immediately just cough up blood and just fall backwards. So yeah. Robin just shocked looking at Luffy's eyes, and he looks pissed off. But then she looks at the wall behind Bluno as he fell over, and sees a giant crack in it. She thought that was like from the giant shockwave that Luffy's fist let out from punching Bluno. So with this, they basically leave Enies Lobby as like Frankie family basically robs everyone they're blind. Then they get back to Water 7, and now the government knows not to mess with the Starlight crew anymore, or Water 7. But Luffy does tell Frankie to join this crew because he needs the ship right. Frankie agrees as he builds the Sunny, and then they go. So as they go, one of the ships already a bit bigger, as they had used the shipwrights in Alabasta for help, or basically carpenters in Alabasta just to enhance the ship a bit so they can fit every single member of the crew. So at least like enough room for everyone. So, yeah. So with this, Luffy is actually able to nonetheless have Frankie build the Sunny, but that's only he wants the Mary to stay the Mary. So with 2 months in Alabasta, their ship is repaired. It doesn't matter. They take as much damage. It's still damaged, but it's not as in bad repairs in canon. Falling from the height of Skypiea will damage a ship no matter how well it is. So with this, well, first, this is a bit of a challenge for I guess Iceberg and the whole, like, I guess Galileo crew, but also Fingerfoot pitches in. They're actually able to take apart the Mary, but then use parts of it to actually enhance the new ship. This new ship actually begins to fit all the Straw Hats, and even more Straw Hats. Roughly around 12 people can fit in the ship on their own. So yeah, plus there's a whole big room for Luffy to stock his fish and crab that he catches, and a bit of sea king meat too. Not a lot of it, but a bit of it. Now that they set sail, and they just go. With this, the Straw Hats are actually able to get all the way over to well. With this, they're able to, I guess, nonetheless get all the way over to Brook. Brook sees a ship, and then sees how charismatic Luffy is. Luffy then tells Brook that well, he knows how to get out of the Florian Triangle in just seconds, or in a few minutes, actually. Where this shocks Brook, and Luffy reveals he's a fishman. He tells that to everyone he just met. This whole crew eventually is able to learn about Luffy's whole nature. Because Robin immediately called out Luffy, he's not a fisherman. She called that out. So even if he's only half fisherman, he's not a fisherman. So, but Luffy's able to bring Brook aboard, and Via then says that he'll tow Brook's ship and they'll get it out of the Florian Triangle, and Brook can scrap it or something. And Brook agreed to this. Frankie says he has an idea for the ship itself. So with this, when they get all the way to Sabaody, well, not first Sabaody, but when they get to the bark, well, it's not even a challenging arc. Like, the moment that they decide that that's a bit too challenging, Luffy can just sink it with no effort. He just said he can sink it if he wants to. But they need to get Brook Shadow back first. Luffy actually is able to communicate with a few fish to actually know about the place, and he finds out about Lola's crew. But eventually, Luffy actually would be able to find a frog. This frog is more of a, well, it has a human shadow in it, but it still communicates like a frog. If he hears about like everything that it needs to, he just throws the frog into the water. First he puts salt in its mouth and then just throws it in the water. Then it can die in its natural habitat, or what he thinks it would be. He doesn't know much about frogs. Kind of cool thing to do, but he basically just runs through, finds Lola's crew, and he tells them basically just get on the boat. He has a plan. With that, they'll run, and then Zoro eventually would run to find Brook Shadow specifically, just because he heard it was a strong swordsman. Zoro basically runs through all of Thriller Bark. Basically, just find Ryuma and just clash Ryuma and beats him. So yeah, he beats Ryuma. Yubashiri just broke because he clashed it as a black blade and it shattered. Then they're actually able to steal Ryuma. Not steal Ryuma. Steal Shusui in the middle of a fight and cut Ryuma down. Still, Ryuma does tell his last words. Basically, Zoro can have the sword. It's his last words. Then Zoro's running back to the ship with hordes of zombies chasing him. He then yells, "Sink it! Sink it! Sink it!" Luffy just put his hand in the air and just waved it down, and then, well, orb basically formed right under Thriller Bark, basically spinning it and then sinking it. Like, Moria is able just to be big enough to the point where he's able to stand up, and he's not in the water, or his head isn't, but he just doesn't float, but his crew's actually able to basically help him float, I guess. Like, Hogback's the only non-Devil Fruit user, and a few zombies are actually able to hold up Moria, and they're able to get him out of the ocean, but Kuma just appeared and just basically blitz them all over to wherever he wants them to be. When Moria just arrived at Marineford, his crew just split up, so, yeah. And Kuma just basically appears and stops himself all the way somewhere else. So, with that, we can just move on to, like, at Sabaody. Kuma just says hear from Moria that Luffy sank this place himself. But like wave was hand, he sank it. But no one knows about Atlanteans unless you're born 800 to 200 years ago. So like Eam's probably the only person that knows about Atlanteans. Probably just Eam. Like, Atlanteans are not important to history. Luffy's the last Atlantean left. They're not important to history whatsoever. I mean, the only thing that he was taught by Nagari is that Nagaris have human, have fishmen. There's just difference in that, but Luffy's just a perfect blend of everything in history. Besides minks and lunarians. He's basically the perfect hybrid of sea life and human life, but also just the perfect bit of main character too. Because he's the best main character of the big three. You cannot change my mind. Shut up now. So, Luffy would just go about and at Sabaody, the Ghost Prince isn't canon. But if he goes and does in canon, Luffy does just like basically meet Kizaru the same way as he fights. But Luffy's new bounty for sinking a whole island or whole island-sized ship. His bounty isn't really too high because he didn't get a bounty until like later on in life. But his bounty was decently high. I was like, Luffy's bounty is roughly around the same as in canon, like 300 million, 5 million, around there. His feats are very impressive, but he got a bounty really late on, so he's not really too affected. So I wasn't the same as in canon. When he fights Kizaru pretty close to the dock, he's able to just run past Kizaru and jump into the ocean. Kizaru thinks it's suicide. But until he just sees the wave rise around him, and they all just clash onto him. Now Kizaru actually being caught up in giant bubble of water, and not being able to basically breathe. Luffy's able to basically turn himself into a human torpedo, flying through it, and punch Kizaru in the stomach, and Kizaru flying into one of those giant trees. But Kizaru, these races basically just, as he sees Luffy attacking him again, he just suddenly just doused in water, then punched over and over again. Just he's being trapped in tons of bubbles of water. Which does lead to Luffy being able to actually beat Kizaru. Kizaru doesn't know he's doing this, he can't just avoid it. If the puddle's blown up, Luffy just summons more water. Or we can beat Luffy just destroying all the water around him. But then there's water in the air, and he can't control that. So, yeah. Luffy's basically a waterbender. That's really just it. He's a waterbender. You can put like bubble water around Kizaru's head, but Kizaru can escape from that. So, yeah. But also near the ocean, so there's a lot more water around them, so he can be trapped in a giant bubble of water. But something Luffy does is beat Kizaru. He just passed out, he lost his power so much and so wildly. But Kizaru eventually he's like escorted away. Smarter than this is that Luffy didn't win, it was a draw. So yeah, Luffy's bounties are going to get a huge boost from like matching an admiral. But then Shikamaru lies about it, saying Kizaru was tricked and was basically just knocked in the water by Rayleigh. Yeah, they lied about it. So yeah. But no one would believe Luffy even if he said it. So Shikamaru basically lied trying to cover up for Kizaru. But Garp already knew how I forgot something real quick. So, with this, we can probably just go on to well, you can probably just move on to just Kuma arriving and stopping. Well, Kuma was already there, but he just wanted to mainly focus on the Straw Hats as they were already a challenge enough. But he was actually able to get Zoro away. Luffy had already beaten Kizaru. But then Luffy fights against Kuma, really dragging him away, but Kuma was able to slap Luffy away, but tell Rayleigh who he is as he does that. So, yeah. Luffy briefly heard it and said, "Oh, no worries." Luffy landed on the ground. Luffy would land as he lands on the ground, he just lands at his feet. Then walks right over to the ocean and jumps in. He immediately is able to find a fish and communicate with it, and tell the fish to basically just pass on a message. He just communicates with lots of fish, he just does this, that, and then is able to actually have them tell them to find these people. As they find it, well, first they find Zoro, but they're able to pass on a message. It's a lot harder to do. But say if they're able to communicate it to some other animal that's like a frog or something, the frog's able to somewhat be intelligent and write words. Just frogs deliver messages, and frogs write down oh yeah, 3D 2Y, and Luffy just says had the idea for 3 years, 2 days. Or no, 2 years, 3D, 3 days, 2 years. 2 days and 2 years and 3 days. That's really it. 2 years and 3 days. So all agree to this. Only person that can be contacted is Nami, but instead Luffy just sends her a letter via news coup. So just Robin gets a letter. Not Robin, Nami gets a letter. Robin is able to beat down any guard in her path with no effort really. She got a lot of martial art training from Luffy because he's a martial artist. He's a good one. Luffy eventually hopped back into shore, and he's met by I need to find her name again. Luffy's met Margaret, Sweet Pea, and all of them, and then eventually he does stuff to go in the whole battle arena thing. But Luffy's able to basically one-tap everything he comes across. Even from the Boa and her sisters, he's able to dodge all their attacks like it's nothing, or just tank them head on. They're nothing to him. It doesn't matter. Like it's just standing like in the middle of the ring, just covered in like dirt and stuff. Luffy says he doesn't want to fight anyone. He's kind of tired still. But when he the bullet does like what he's tired from, he says, "Oh, he fought Kizaru." He's confused. Luffy then she described Kizaru's power set immediately, and it's something that she doesn't even know, but it's right up Kizaru's alley from what she's heard. She heard that like directly from Marines, and Luffy's not a Marine. The only way you should know this is via fighting Kizaru, so he's telling the truth. There's no other way to say it. Even like they don't believe it till Luffy is like, no, he has no other way to know this besides just telling the truth. I know so. So don't doubt Boba's word. We want Luffy to fight their sisters just to see how strong they are compared to Kizaru's. Someone who fought Kizaru. When Luffy just basically beat down Boa and her sisters, not Boa, but her sisters with no effort. But Luffy was just finished and then said that was the easiest fight of his life, or easiest fight in the last few months. Even if they use hockey, he's able to dodge it like it's nothing, or someone just catch it and throw it back. These senses are just insane out of this world to the point where they're basically just low-level hockey. Yeah, by the way, Luffy has like his whole tattoos, like his marks lighting up, I guess, lighting up red. Because still has that thing happening. But eventually, everything does go per normal once he beats beats San Antonio and her other sister, Boa's other sister, I forgot her name. But yeah. So we can just go on to like probably just we can probably just go on to Marineford, I guess. Luffy traveled Boa, he traveled like under the Marine ship via Sea King. He just like sit on top of the Sea King and just traveled there. If they arrived, Luffy just like sat like swam like it was swam down all the way down to the lowest level. But then Luffy's actually able to somewhat like so actually something fishermen like fish and human, so could Luffy have a telepathic link with fishmen? Could he have that? I wanna say yes, but I also wanna say no, because it sounds weird. I don't know, but I want to say he can. So, pause. So, the vehicles basically swim down via Sea King all the way down to like level 6. But then Sea King brought Luffy to a specific side of the cell. Luffy's a little confused, then she kind of fills out the whole area. Luffy just, he passes out the whole wall, he shoves his finger through it. He shoves his finger through the wall, will eventually, clicks in, and Jinbei would actually lean up forward looking at this. Luffy begins talking to Jinbei, kind of like a fish, but Jinbei can briefly understand it. Luffy's basically trying to like, communicate to Jinbei like a fish, because Jinbei can understand him when he talks like a fish. So with this, basically, usually Jinbei's a fishman, and he talks to him, kind of like just telepathically. So Jinbei's actually able to tell Luffy basically how to get in and every like stairway he went through. Luffy then says, "How about this?" He shatters the wall. Jinbei says it's gonna be kind of hard, but go ahead, do what you want. So then Luffy just swam backwards. Then he went gear second, and then yelled. Not yelled, but he basically just did a Gomu no jet rocket. I mean, basically the walls of Impel Down, and cracking a lot of them. That Luffy ended up going in through Jinbei's cell. Then basically broke Jinbei out. Not broke him. Well, he broke him out technically because Jinbei's cell walls shattered, and then so was he. He was freed. Luffy actually been freeing everyone they needed to and Kin, running up and freeing everyone that way. Actually, I've heard there was a breakout and actually joined in, seeing how it was successful. And then Luffy met Bonchan, same way as in canon, and yeah. Now this he did kind of turn Magellan at one point, and she just basically one-tapped him. Like Aquaman has a whole poison aura thing going on. Luffy can do that too, which I assume would probably have a poison resistance, which Luffy could kind of have. So when Magellan tried the whole poison thing, Luffy should use like a poisonous aura to actually counteract a lot of it. So he doesn't really poison too much, but he does get like a bad stomach ache from it, like I have right now. But yeah. Now that's actually able to break out, steal a Marine ship, then have Sea Kings basically sink any Marine ship coming after. Like they have Sea Kings sink the Marine ships all around them, so the Marines can't go after them. But they also have a Sea King. They attach like a rope to a Sea King, then attach the Sea King to a they attach the rope to the Sea King, then attach the other end of that rope to the Marine ship, and the Sea King basically travels them to Marineford. With how fast Luffy basically did the breakout with no effort, and how fast he got there, got there earlier than Hancock. The Sea King escorted him to Marineford. Not Marineford, I mean, to Impel Down, just waiting for Boa to arrive to cause a distraction, I guess. Then as the Marines were all distracted with her leaving, he broke down the walls. But eventually, they arrived there. Not like 10 minutes after Whitebeard does. But then she just dropped down. Luffy immediately just yelled for Ace, and Luffy just basically just shot his arm out in a near second. And well, Sengoku and Garp are basically the ones on top of it. But as Garp would jump and try to grab Luffy's arm and pull him towards him, Luffy actually let this happen. So as he's being pulled towards Garp, Luffy, as he got close enough, Luffy then just bit into his arm, like from his shoulder, and then yelled gear third, and arm expanded, shooting Garp away. He still put himself closer to Ace, and then punched Sengoku. Sengoku collided his fists, and Luffy and Sengoku just basically kept trading blows over and over again. Luffy and Sengoku kept trading blows. Sengoku just kind of tired out by Luffy. Luffy ended up smirking, and Sengoku was a little confused. So Luffy then said, "This is pufferfish poison, you know that, right?" Or Sengoku just had his eyes widen, then be pushed right over. Sengoku would just hit the ground as he was poisoned. That Luffy is able to actually look at the sea stone. Luffy is honestly not affected by most things, even if it's sea stone. Luffy just grabbed on the sea stone, cuffs and just tore them clean off Ace, which amazed Ace because Luffy's tattoos had lit up red. But temporary amp, Luffy just jumped down and been controlling ice like he can usually do too. Like Aquaman can do it too. Began mixing in lightning in the ice and fighting against Kizaru and Kuzan at the same time. Ice for Kuzan, lighting for Kizaru. So yeah. Eventually Kizaru got close enough, and Luffy just used the ice turned into water and surround Kizaru like a bubble. But then just sent electricity. She do it to the point where Kizaru being just shocked to death. Not shocked to death, but just shocked to the point where he passed out. Then did the same thing to Kuzan, and then he just walked away. I assume even if you're using hockey, lightning is somewhat going to affect you, or at least wear you down over time. Because Luffy doesn't really care; he can do this all day, all the time he wants. So yeah. By the way, I didn't go over this one thing, which the routes are all up to the same place. It's just one difference, one big one. Kobe. I don't know where Kobe would go. I don't know. I see Kobe going with Chopper, or going with Usopp, or going with Zoro, like one of those three. Or 4 or 5 with Sanji included. 4 or 5, I forgot which number I said, but Brook, Usopp, Zoro, or Sanji. One of those 4. I can see Kobe going with one of them. Honestly, I'm gonna say Sanji. But yeah. But Luffy's able to incapacitate Kizaru and Kuzan with water. Just putting them in a bubble, and they just get choked out or get electrocuted. One of the two. But Luffy took down 2 admirals by basically just tricking them, so to say, luring them in to get close and turning the ice into water. He just cracks it to the point where the ice beneath is water. But not to cracking ice, occasionally he's actually able to lure in Sea Kings via telepathy and actually summon a lot of them to come forth. Because he poisoned Sengoku, he incapacitated Kizaru and Kuzan, so it's 3 major feats so far. Well, and what particular technology is just there's some medical treatment focused on not even the Marines, but focused on Sengoku so he doesn't die from being poisoned by pufferfish. So yeah. But Luffy is eventually he's fighting against this Vice Admiral. And Vice Admiral's using hockey against Luffy. And Kizaru and Kuzan are doing that too, but Luffy's putting them in bubbles of water, so they're basically just drowning. Well, Luffy did this because this guy doesn't have hockey at all. Luffy's still stronger than him and faster than him and everything, but the guy's able to actually dodge Luffy's punches and stab him right through the stomach with the hockey-infused sword. We end up coughing up blood. Then he grabs onto the blade. It's squeezing it full force. He has a bleeding. The guy can't really keep his hockey up for long, and Luffy shatters the blade. But that Luffy picks up the guy, and basically just slams him on his knee, and Luffy just breaks their back. So yeah, with the back being broken, Luffy just throws him away, and then just beats down the other Marines with a whole giant Sabaody in his stomach. There's a blade poking out of his back. He doesn't care at all. He barely even noticed it. So Luffy just beats down this many people all around him. He doesn't really care too much. Ace was freed the moment Luffy got to Marineford. Like, Ace just retreated and just focused on being healed by Marco. But, yeah. Eventually, the Marineford arc basically just ends in a tie, not like a loss for the pirate, just a draw. So, yeah. Now, with that, Shanks arrives. Luffy talks to Shanks with the straw hat still on. Luffy doesn't really take it off too much, but has it around his waist or like around his neck. But as he does leave, Luffy ends up basically just, well, he leaves, but not for shooting a gigantic lightning bolt at just the Marineford, the whole place itself. He charged it up and then shot it and blew a giant hole through it. Which leaves like a giant crater that will take years to repair. Unless you have Pika's fruit, it doesn't take years to repair it. But Ace didn't die in this one, but he just retired from being a pirate, and Luffy encouraged him to retire. Eventually, 2 years passed. Luffy trained with with Rayleigh, and trained every single year under Skyna. So yeah. But the moment that the Stars got the notice from like the bird and Newsku, so they kind of just got talked to, I guess. But Sabo's still a revolutionary, so there's not much changing in that. What about that? I'm probably just gonna end this part here because it's 1 hour 21 minutes long already. And honestly, Luffy's gonna speedrun the second post time skip already, and I'm probably just gonna have Luffy end it all, no effort. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this part. Like and subscribe. Adios.